This is going to the origin of a criminal case. How does a criminal case start?
Should we talk about how I got the mayor indicted, or?
Somebody's always looking. You got to conduct yourself as though somebody's always watching you. This may or may not be the peeling of the onion, this video by Sabrina Carpenter, but this is how shit happens. A little thing here, a little thing there, and then all of a sudden the feds start looking into it. They subpoena the church. Now, why wasn't he detained? Why wasn't Eric Adams detained, but the diddler was? Look at the difference of crimes. The crimes aren't the same.
Especially as a public official.
Especially if you're a mayor of the largest city in the world. Oh, you're in Turkey? Mayor, who's paying for that?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your very own board-certified criminal defense lawyer. We are joined here today with our content genius, Michael Rivers. Say hi, Michael.
Hello, everybody. And
Michael's here behind the camera, in front of the camera. He's behind the ideas, in front of the microphone. And do we have any merch left? Did we sell it all? Are we all done with the merch?
no, we got plenty.
How do you get the merch?
You go to clrbrucerivers.com.
All right, and we got all kinds of stuff. We got hats. I mean, Christmas is coming up, so don't forget to stock up. All right, before we get to that, this is brought to you by eforms.com, very loyal sponsor of our program. eforms.com, honestly, it's an incredible resource for you to go to if you need a legal form. If you go there and you need a bill of sale, power of attorney, rental agreement, whatever you need, go to eforms.com. eforms.com, it'll protect you in court, keep you out of court, and avoid the high cost of a lawyer to create the document.
Should we talk about how I got the mayor indicted, or?
You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. So this is going to the origin of a criminal case. How does a criminal case start? So we have Mayor Eric Adams. He's accused of receiving campaign contributions illegally, not disclosing, other kind of in-kind contributions that are illegal in the way they're taken, trips, bribes. And how did it all start? Well, we don't know for sure, but let's just play this.
Should we talk about how I got the mayor indicted, or?
So what she did, and we'll show a little bit of a clip, she filmed a music video in a Catholic church in New York City. And so you have Monsignor Gigantiello. He and a guy by the name of Carone, they've been friends. They've been friends for years. Here I'm speaking with an Italian accent, not even meaning to, but that's what happens when you all of a sudden start talking in words that end with a vowel.
And watch Joe Pesci movies.
Right. Anyway, so somehow, what's the pop singer's name?
Sabrina Carpenter. She's huge.
Somehow Sabrina Carpenter wanted to do this video in the church. And Carone arranged it through the Monsignor who was tied back to Eric Adams. Okay, you follow me? And the feds have now subpoenaed the Catholic Church for records. But what happened is she comes out with this kind of spicy video that happens in the church. And the Archbishop gets a little kind of miffed about it because you're not doing that in the house of the Lord, are you?
Investigation.
They were the foundation to this administration.
That was Mayor Adams back in 2022 announcing Frank Carone's departure from city government.
So Frank Carone worked for the mayor for a year. And after he departed, and then he opened his own solutions business. And what do we call that? That's influence peddling. So, oh, you need something done with the mayor? Hey, you put this in this pocket. I'll take care of you right here. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what he was doing. And so that's what he did with this video, right? He went to the mayor and said, hey, mayor, I need this and this and this. And all of a sudden they do this and this and this. And all of a sudden they get a permit for the shooting of this video in this church. That leads to one thing. And then Frank Carone, he's got these business contacts over in Turkey, right? And he raised all the money for Eric Adams, and that's snowballed. So this may or may not be the peeling of the onion, as it were, where, what's that fucking pop star's name?
Sabrina Carpenter.
Sorry, I can't fucking remember that. This may or may not be the peeling of the onion, this video by Sabrina Carpenter, but this is how shit happens. A little thing here, a little thing there, and then all of a sudden the feds start looking into it. They subpoena the church. There's no allegation that Gigantiello has done anything wrong necessarily. Certainly the Archbishop didn't really take too kindly to having, a very sexualized video performance filmed in his church. But, I had a client one time. He was the controller for a church, actually, and a small church. And he was gambling the church's money away to the tune of about $300,000. And instead of just copping to that and paying the money back, he decides to create fake bank accounts. He decides to create fake bank statements, fake checks, fake whatever, to try to cover up his misdeeds. So when the jig is sort of up, and then they all of a sudden execute a search warrant on his home, well, that little thing called "I stole $300,000" is nothing compared to the child porn and the 7,500 images they fucking found on his computer. This is how these things generally start. Something comes up over here. Oh, look, it's over here, over here, over here. And pretty soon, before you know it, that onion looks like something you get at TGA Fridays. I mean, just a big floury onion, and it's got all these different cases to it. And that's what happened with Mayor Adams. When you watch Mayor Adams, as things go forward, this thing's going to blossom into a case that, granted, he has the presumption of innocence, right? That applies to a jury. That doesn't apply to us. We're free to speculate all the hell we want, right? And it's just tragic, but it's because I think Adams would have been just fine otherwise. But it's like, you get tempted by a little bit of greed, by a little bit of this, by a little bit of this, and all of a sudden, he's going to Turkey and he's really enjoying himself, and nobody's really questioning anything, and nobody's looking over here. You know what? Somebody's always looking. Somebody's always looking. You got to conduct yourself as though somebody's always watching you.
Especially as a public official.
Especially if you're a fucking mayor of the largest city in the world. Oh, you're in Turkey? Mayor, who's paying for that? I mean, tell me that didn't go through every city council member's mind when he's traveling to and from Turkey. So you've got something as innocent as this video that starts, but the influence peddler who's doing this, that unravels the onion.
And in the Bentley suite, which was pretty nice, as we saw in the indictment.
When you're a public servant, you can't live like a sultan. And when you do, expect to pay the price. Everybody that's done that, with the exception of Clarence Thomas, has reached their maximum, and all of a sudden they get called on the carpet. So as things get heated with Eric Adams, and and he's going to go to now, why wasn't he detained? Why wasn't Eric Adams detained, but the diddler was? Look at the difference of crimes. The crimes aren't the same. First of all, there's no violence in Eric Adams' case, right? And he was allowed to self-surrender. In other words, turn himself into this court date. And there's no hint of him leaving the state, or he lives there. He's the mayor. Where's the fuck is he going to go? And so they charged him by information, or charged him by indictment. Yeah, indictment. And they allowed him to show up to court. And it's also the crimes that he's charged with, there's not a presumption of detention. As opposed to, in Diddy's case, there's detention is presumed. So he's going to go through, they've executed search warrants, so his lawyers are probably going to try to challenge those. That'll go nowhere. I mean, you get a warrant, a judge signed off on it. So even if the judge is wrong in signing, unless you need a Franks hearing, which a Franks hearing is where there's deliberate false representations to the tribunal, and you can flesh that out. Unless you have that, which you're not going to have that probably in this case, but unless you have that, those search warrants are going to stand. If the search warrant stands, the evidence stands, and you're off to the races. Then it becomes, what does it mean? Sometimes the best case is for a defense lawyer. It's not, okay, we're not going to argue about the facts. We're just going to argue about what this means. And I think you're going to have that kind of a case with Eric Adams. So this is just a quick update on the origin of the Eric Adams case. We'll see you next time here in Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, along with our content genius, Michael Rivers. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. Where do you get the merch?
CLRBruceRivers.com. Hats, hoodies, shirts, and prints. Shout out to Tony and Nick, and we love you guys all. We have the best fan base in the world, and last week was incredible. Let's keep the momentum going.
We'll see you next time here in Criminal Lawyer React.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That